All right, so that's all set. So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our new in Leap 7.7 training. As I'm sure you know, we upgraded to Leap 7.7 last Wednesday, and we have some cool new features to share with you all. So to begin, I just wanted to quickly introduce our team here. My name is Kiara Lyons, and here with me is Molly Mansfield, and we are the Member Services Associates at CCS. And here is our agenda for today. I will share about some new keyboard shortcuts, find tool enhancements, sub-funds and invoice updates, and the new EDI Leap tool. And then we'll take a quick little break, and when we come back, Molly will cover new features in Simply Reports and record set enhancements, the ability to express non-blocking circ notes, and the very nice split screen mark editor feature, and a new duplication detection action in the BIB records. And finally, at the end, we'll have some resources to share out and then some time for Q&A. That being said, if there are any questions that come up for you during the demo, you do not have to hold them until the very end, so please feel free to drop them in the chat anytime, and we will work on answering those as they come through. So I'm just going to take a quick peek, and it looks like we don't have any questions so far, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump in. All right. So first and foremost, Innovative has added a new keyboard shortcut. They're highlighted here. On the left, you could see the action, and on the right, there's the keyboard shortcuts. And this is documented in some of the resources that we will be sharing out after this webinar, so no need to write them all down if you don't want to. But just to quickly review them, there now is an action to return to the results from the workflow tracker. There is an action to open the workflow tracker, an action to print, an action to open the new menu, an action to open the utilities menu, an action to open the find tool, and lastly, an action to close the work form. One note from Innovative that they found while they were testing internally was that, like any browser-based application like Leap, assigning shortcut keys is sometimes difficult because they may overlap with other shortcuts that you may already have set up in your browser. So depending on what extensions you have downloaded on your computer, you may face some issues if there's an overlap. And if you do notice that some of these Leap shortcuts aren't working for you, Innovative just recommends checking your extensions and seeing if that's what's causing the issue. If you do have any issues with these, go ahead and open a ticket with us and we can help you troubleshoot and figure out what's going on. All right, so for the next few features, I am going to hop off this. Yes, sorry, I'm popping up to check in the chat and the slides will be shared after the webinar. I will say that this is one of the only slides that we're going to be using because the rest of the presentation is going to be demo. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off this slide and go into our training Leap. So I will begin by talking about some find tool enhancements. So within the find tool, Innovative has added a recent tool. So let's say that I search for an item. This new icon here to the right of your search bar is the recent find tool. This will display the last 100 searches and will remember them for the rest of your time in Leap. So that means once you do log out of Leap, all of those searches will be erased. This is useful in case you accidentally close out of the find tool. You don't have to do the whole process of relaunching your search. You just need to click it open, select that recent icon, and you're able to see all of your searches from that session with the most recent one on top. You just click it and you'll be able to relaunch that search. If we click on this recent tab, you're also able to see the search terms. So we can see that we searched keyword all, the keyword terms that we searched, and any filters that we applied. So I applied an assigned branch filter for this search, and it'll go ahead and open it up for me once again. Like I said, this will be deleted after you log out. So if you do need to retain your searches for longer than just the one day, we do recommend using the Save Searches function. And if you don't know how to do that, I will be demoing that in next month's Leap Hacks webinar. So please register for that if you're interested. All right. Another cool new feature that we have in the Find tool is the ability to shift click to select multiple records. I can click on one record, scroll down, and let's say I want to go ahead and put all of these records into a record set. I will simply click Shift on my keyboard, select what I'd like, and it goes ahead and highlights all of the records in between. If I want to skip a few records and then decide I would like this between here, I would go ahead, select my first record, click the Shift key, select the other record, and we see that group and everything in between selected. So again, that first group, the group that I skipped, and then that other group that I had originally selected. Again, that's just clicking the Shift key on my keyboard. Look for any questions. This is currently available in numerous tables in Leap, with the goal of it being added to all of the tables. So we will see this function in one more table during this training. Okay, so this next one is very exciting for me. We now have the ability to save filters into your user defaults in the Find tool. What this means is that now you can save your most used filters and have them automatically applied every time you open the Find tool. Let's take a look at that together. If I set up a search and begin by applying filters, we click that funnel icon, and I would like assign branch, let's say a collection of nonfiction, and a target audience of adults. I need to click apply as I normally would with filters. And now I will go ahead and select this star icon. When we select the star icon, we see the option to save the current search column and filter settings as the user's defaults. If I click this show pending changes, I can also see the specific search filters that I am applying. So as we can see, I assign an assigned branch, a collection, and a target audience. If this all looks right and I've confirmed it's the filters that I need to set as my user defaults, I will go ahead and click that green save button. And now we see that that star is highlighted yellow. And now every time you open the Find tool and search for a bib record, that star will be highlighted, the funnel will be highlighted, and your filters will be saved. So if I search for birds, I see that I've been filtered down to 161 out of almost 10,000 records. You can also set these unique default filters across any database by selecting the ones that you want to work in, applying the filters, selecting that same star icon, and saving it as your user defaults. So again, if I were to go into the patron record, apply a filter, you apply it, save, and it'll be saved for every search that you do in this database. One thing to keep in mind is that you are only able to set one set of filters for your database. So again, if you want to set a more permanent filter, we would still suggest using that save search function that I mentioned earlier. Okay, I'm going to pause here. I just went through a lot. Are there any questions in the chat? I don't see anything for now. Okay. All right. So I'm going to close out of the Find tool and open up our new sub-funds feature. So to do that, I will go ahead and open my test fund record. Oh, I see one. Are the
Are the
keyboard
keyboard shortcuts, sorry,
No, go ahead.
in the CCS documentation?
They will be. So we are working to update our CCS documentations, all of the online training courses, and all of the YouTube videos with this new 7.7 upgrades. So some of them are updated already, and when we share the resources at the end of the session, you'll be able to click around and find. They will all be updated soon. Okay. All right, so moving into sub-funds, I'm going to go ahead and open my test fund. So Innovative has added a new sub-fund tab to their fund work form. As we can see, it's right here on the end. And when we click on it, we can see all the sub-funds that exist under this parent fund, along with their descriptions, alternate names, and their balances. If you have the permission, you will be able to click on this new sub-fund form to create a new sub-fund under this parent fund. Close out of that. If you open a sub-fund, you are able to see all of the history, the balances, all of the same information you can normally see in a fund, as well as open the Actions button, click Adjust Fund Balances, and then now we also have the option to manually adjust the balances like you do in the client. You can click here, adjust the amount, and update the fund. Close. Check for questions. Good. All right. Next up, we see, I will open up an invoice, a test invoice to show you the updates to the invoice dialog. So Innovative has added the ability to distribute different types of charges from the action dropdown. We see distribute charges, distribute credits and discounts, and distribute sales taxes. Each one of these, if you click on them, will give you additional options. So for example, if you are distributing charges, it will ask you what type of charge it is. So if it's a cataloging, shipping, binding format, the amount of the charge. It will ask you whether it is meant to override an existing charge or add to an existing charge, and how you would like it to be distributed. So should it be evenly across line items or based on the total quantity received? If we were to distribute credit and discounts, it's very similar. It asks you what the type is, either credits, discounts, or discounts. The amount. Again, the action, is it meant to override an existing or adjust an existing value? Is it meant to be distributed across line items or based on the total quantity received? And lastly, if I go back to the same actions drop down and click on distribute sales tax, the sales tax asks you to just input how much the sales tax is. Okay. Check. All right, so let me go ahead and open a segment here. I go under line item. I select this line item, and we see our segment. Innovative has added the ability to make additional edits in the segments if you need to do any cleanups or modification. So to do that, on the right side of our page, we have this view. And if we change to totals, and we select the segment that we want to edit, click on that edit icon, we are now able to manually update the sales tax and the credit/discounts just to make sure that everything is balanced out and give you an easier way to do all of that. Okay, those are the invoice updates. I will hop back to our Leap homepage to show you the last tool that I have for you. And this is the EDI processing tool. So this lives under the utilities. and it is titled EDI Processing. As we can see, first thing, we are automatically set to the branch that we are logged into. So I'm logged into CCS, but you can select out of here. Next, we have the ASN Processing tab. In the ASN Processing tab, you are able to see the search bar, the ability to receive a carton, the shipments table, and the shipment items table. I'll jump into those in a second, but just to let you know, Innovative is also planning to add a Process EDI Workform tab, or PU, here in a future upgrade. So keep an eye out for that. But for now, in the ASN Processing tab, let's focus in on this shipments table. So unlike in the client, here in Leap, all the shipments that are available for receiving will automatically appear at this table. You are then able to either select the shipment from this table, or you can still, like in the client, scan the box and it'll automatically select the shipment from the table. Once you have something selected in the shipments table, this bottom shipment items table will automatically populate with the items in that box. Once you have selected what you need, you will go ahead and click Receive the carton. And then it will automatically be received like it does in the staff client. And it'll give you, just like in the staff client, show you which items have hold requests associated to them. If you have the permissions and you are enabled for printing, you will also be able to print the work slip right here. And that is the new EDI processing tool in Browser Leap. Are there any questions? Oh, and we got a comment that says, FYI, it takes about 40 seconds for the holds to pop up. Thank you for sharing. All right, cool. We're using it already. All right. So that is what I have for you today. I think it feels a little early for a break. So Molly, what do you think? Do you want to go over record sets and then we'll take a quick break?
Yeah, it feels early for a break. I'm happy to
Okay.
jump in. Okay, so the first update that I have to share with you is an update to record sets in Simply Reports. So one of the enhancements is going to be the ability to create record sets from saved and scheduled reports. So I'm going to choose to do an item list report. This functionality works for all of the reports in Simply Reports. I'm just used to going to the item list, so that's where I'm going to go for my report. And I'll build my report with a couple items in the column, as well as I'll choose a material type. And you can pick as many different areas that you want to do that. And then once you're ready, just go ahead and click Submit. And it's going to go ahead and open up that screen that we're probably used to seeing, but there is a little bit of stuff that's been changed here. So one thing that you can see on this screen is we've got the option to download, the option to save the parameters for later, and also the option to create a record set from the results now. So this third one has always been the option to create something right now, but they added this language here just to make sure that it was understood that once you put in a record set name and a note and you click create record set, then it will create that set. And then they also have the save report parameters for later use. So with the save report parameters for later use, when you click this, it's going to give you the option to do a report name and a report description. So anything that you enter into these fields will be saved into the report parameters for later use, like it says. So it will not automatically create a record set when you do this. You will still need to create the record set. But what this is going to do is it's going to help you have a saved report parameter that you can use for later creation. So if I were to give my report a name, I'm going to work off of my test activity kit as well as a description, and I give it my record set name and set note, and then I save it. My report is going to be saved within the My Reports tab of Simply Reports. So I'll go back and show you that. So when I go to My Reports, I'll go and find my item list report. And so here's some reports that I use regularly. Um, and so within here, you can see my reports are saved. I can schedule and run these reports. I also have the opportunity to edit a report before I go ahead and run it or schedule it. So if I choose one of my reports and I open this, it's going to give me right away the report type at the top, the creation, my name, and my set, my record set name as well. And it will also give me the ability to make changes. So if I wanted to make any adjustments or modify this, I could do that before saving this report. It's also going to you will be able to stop creating a record set if you, when we go back to run a report, if we remove the report name. But otherwise, what's really great is the report name, if you were to schedule this record to be run, then it's going to also give you a date stamp at the end of your report. So again, once I schedule this report and I've run this report, I'll be able to go into Leap and I will see this report, and we can look at that in Leap as well. So any questions so far? Okay, so I'm going to go over to my
Molly, we did have
Leap.
one
Yes,
question pop up.
sorry.
Does the date get added to the report name or the record set name?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me double check my notes. It's going to be appended to the end of the name of the record set. So you'll be able to see that it was run at a certain time and day. Was there another question that came through? No. Okay.
You're all good.
Thank you. So then if I go over into Leap, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up my test record set that I put together. And you could see from Kiara's earlier part of our presentation that I did go ahead. I like to do a search for record set and name. So that is sort of my saved record set. And then I'll go ahead and find my test activity record set that I put together. So once I open this, you're going to notice something, and there's some little changes going on here. The first change that's really exciting is that there is now a load all button. So you can see this load all button here at the top of the screen, as well as if I scroll down, apologies for all the scrolls, you can see them at the bottom of the screen as well. So I have records, over 1,200 records in this set. And right now it's showing me 250 of the records. Instead of having to click more, what I can do is click load all. And it's going to take a couple seconds to load, but once it's finished, you'll see at the bottom of the screen, now I have the option to look at more than just 250 records at a time. So if I wanted to see all 1,200 records, I could choose that, or I could click through by sets of 250. So this way you can sort this table, you can pull up all of those records in this set and have it as one screen. If I go back up to the top, there's also the option, or there's an updated in here now where there's only one action button. So the action button is no longer within the body. Action is only here at the top. And this is where you can do things like your bulk change and your export. So this way it's a little less confusing. And then also the shift click ability that Kiara talked about in her first part of the presentation works as well. So if I were to click and then go ahead and decide I want to grab a set of records, I can shift click and that will grab multiple records. Oops. And the shift click feature, I think Kiara mentioned this as well, but just wanted to say it again that that feature is becoming available across other parts of Leap. So if it's not available currently as they do updates, then you'll be able to see the shift click in multiple places. Kiara, were there any questions in the chat?
There was one, and I was just about to respond. It's a great question. We have a question is there a shortcut to load all? And so since this was a new feature that was recently added, there is not a shortcut yet to load all, but that's a great idea and one that we can go ahead and flag to innovative for a future update.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a great suggestion.
and then we have another question, does control click work?
Yes, yes. So like I was saying, I use the control click to go ahead and grab multiple records, just like Kiara did in the find tool. And that's something that is going to be working across other parts of the tool as it gets developed further. Okay, great questions. So I'm going to close this. I will be going back into records in a minute, but I wanted to show you one other feature that's come up that is available for all CCS libraries, really all libraries that use Polaris. So a new feature that they have that they've added is the option to suppress non-blocking circulation notes. So if I go into, I have a test patron record that I use. And so here's my test patron record. I think I set this up correctly. Kiara and I were playing with this, and I believe I've got it correct. But what this does is this is going to give you the opportunity to suppress non-blocking notifications when the staff goes into Leap to check out an item to a patron. So these notes will not appear during the checkout process, but this is a settings change that you can request from us by putting in a ticket. So I know a couple of our libraries have requested this already. And what this is going to do is when I go to checkout, it shouldn't show any money owed as long as it's not enough to block. It won't show a held item. It will not show any unread messages, and it will not show any accrued money owed, again, as long as it's not enough to be blocked. So, like I said, this is something that we do have to set up for you. So you can put in a ticket, and we can make that request for you. And with these four non-blocking notes, I do believe you could also have the opportunity to choose if you just wanted one of these blocked instead of all of these blocked. So there's a couple options. So when I pull up a book, let me just grab something I can check out. So I did, Kiara, I still need help, I think, with my settings. But so if I was a library that had the non-blocking notices set up already, then the unread message should not show up, as well as my money that's owed does not show up. I do have items that are held that aren't showing up, so I think I started to get my example correct. But so this is just a way to help, uh, you know, extend the workflow so that your workflows are a little bit shorter, and then also that you're not getting all those pop-ups if you don't need them. Any questions on that? I'm sorry that my example did not work exactly the way I wanted it to.
We have a question. Does the information, money owed, etc., still show on the LEAP form?
Yes. So if you're in here, you can still see I do have, I have some money that I owe. I have some holds that are here. So everything still shows. So when you go into the patron record, your staff or yourself will still be able to see everything. I can also look and see that I have some notes in here, or I can see if I have any messages here for the staff. But yes, they'll all show here. They just don't pop up like they normally would. Okay. So I am going to go to probably what I think is one of the most exciting updates to 7.7. And so the next one I'm going to show you is the split screen mark editor. So the split screen mark editor is going to provide you with a split screen comparison, and you can use up to 20 bib records for a side-by-side comparison. It's also going to give you the opportunity to move mark tags from side to side and make some nice changes within a record without having to try to line them up. So let me pull up a record. Oh, my find tool. Okay. So within the record, this is our sort of our normal work function. We're going into our bibliographic record here, and everything should look the same. What is going to change now is that once I'm in this record, I can click Actions and I can click Compare. And when I click Compare, it's going to give me the opportunity to open another record. And like I said, you can have up to 20 records open at one time. And so I just grabbed another Goblet of Fire Harry Potter book, and I'm going to open those. And so now we're going to get a new screen, and this is our compare records screen. So they're going to, let's see, sorry, I just want to make sure I get everything right. So again, it's going to open up these two records. If I had other records or if I wanted to add additional records, I can click the plus sign. That's again going to open up and give me the opportunity to add additional records. Your original record that you started with will always present on the left side of the screen, and the records that you're adding will present on the right side of the screen. If you wanted to pop out and just look at this bib, you can go ahead and use the button that would open that bibliographic record back up. And then you can also see that there's the option to align tags and to save. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to scroll down again. Sorry for this multiple scrolls. You can see what's really great is all of these tags line up. So this particular record has a couple extra, an extra 500 and a 521. Those are not showing on this side, but they show here. So they're going to line up and give you any time that there's a missed tag, you can see that it's over, there's that empty space there. So if I were to scroll down, you can see I like to choose something in the 650s to get this example going. They have wizards and juvenile. They don't have the witches and juvenile. So if I wanted to add this tag into my record, I click the little arrow button here, and now it moved it over to the record for me. And I can go through and do that multiple times. So if I wanted to add this one over there, I could. Same if I wanted to move it back, I could do that as well. If I needed to delete something, there's a little minus sign here, so I can delete it. There's also a plus sign if I wanted to add my own field as well. And then at the top here, they don't automatically align always when you go ahead and add additional fields. So that's where the button for the align tags works. So if I were to add a tag, excuse me, and it didn't align properly, you use that align field and that will go ahead and realign your tags. It also isn't going to save automatically. So when you do want to go ahead and make changes, you can save right here. And you, like I said, if you had multiple records open, you could click through them as you go. So you have some options there. And then if you wanted to, let's see here. If you wanted to, like I said, add additional ones, clicking this will do that as well. And once you make changes, you do have to click the save icon in the individual record. So if I don't click the save icon in the individual record and I click close, it's going to give me the option to see what I have made changes to. Do I want to save this without, or close this without making any changes? I'm going to discard my changes and close that and see if there's any questions.
We have one so far, just confirming that it's not moving the tags, just copying them over, correct?
Just copying them over, that is correct. Okay.
I think we are good.
Okay.
Oh, we have one more just came through. Does the compare function lock the records? Oh, that's a good question.
Well, that is a good question. And I don't know, Kiara, do you know that? I'm trying to think if that does lock them or not.
Do you want to open one up and we can check?
Yeah, let's try it. Let me get my record back up.
It says the record is being modified.
Okay. So it does put it in that status of modified. So then you will need to close when you are done and make sure, like I said, to make those changes with the save button here.
All right. Does it have a check for duplicate fields that are not repeatable?
Does it have a check for duplicate fields that are not repeatable? I don't believe so at this time, but I think that would be an excellent addition to this. So I'll make a note, and I think Kara's probably making a note as well.
I've got the question
Thank you.
now.
I realized that we were thinking about taking a break, but I feel like since I only have one more, we're
If
probably
everyone,
still good.
yeah, if everyone's okay with it, we can power through to the end.
Okay. These are great questions. Any
Yeah,
other
very good.
questions? Okay. So the last thing that I want to show you is there's a duplicate detection action now in the bib record. So this is going to give you the option to manually check for duplicates in Leap while you're editing bib records. You do not have to be in the save process within your work form to check for a duplicate. You can check for a duplicate record the moment you open a bib. So I am going to open up, I'll use my bib here, my Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Um, so what would happen in the past? You would have to go into the save function of your workflow in order to see duplicates. And then you would have to start that process. But now in the actions button here, under compare, there is a duplicate check. So when I click my duplicate check, I will get a pop-up. And there's my other bib record we were looking at earlier. And so now you can see that I have the option, if I were to click this, I could replace the records. Also, if I knew that there's a title that is a duplicate in the system, but it's not showing up, I can go in here and click Add Title, and I could pick another title here, and I could also add that in as a possible duplicate. And it tells me that it's a user selected, that I entered this into here. And then again, if I wanted to make those replacements, I could replace it. So one question that we've had is, can we go from duplicate directly to compare? Right now, that functionality is not there. So if you wanted to do the compare form with the duplicate, I recommend opening a record and grabbing the control number, and then you can go back and you can start that compare process. It is a really great idea. So I know that we're submitting it as an idea to III to go from duplicate detection into the compare form. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. And is there any questions on duplicates? You're muted, Kiara.
Thank you. The
Yeah, no
question came
worries.
through, can you open a record from the duplicate check screen?
Yes, thank you. That's a good question. So if I do my duplicate check, I can just click anywhere in that field, and then it'll open my other record. And like I said, then I usually just grab my control number, close the first record, cancel this, and then go into actions, click compare. find my record, and go into that compare process.
I give it another second for any other questions on this.
Mm.
I think we're good.
Okay. I will say I'm very excited about this update. And I know that a lot of people that I've talked to are really excited about it as well. So I think this is a really cool that's going to be very helpful. Okay. So I am going to, do you want me to share the PowerPoint for the rest of yeah, okay. So let me go ahead and I'll share our PowerPoint again. There we go. So you should be seeing our PowerPoint and get back to, okay. So we do have some resources and support, and I know that we had some questions earlier about updated documentation. So we have some CCS how-to documentation that we're updating. There's also Polaris upgrades and reported issues. And Kiara is putting the links of these in the chat so that you're able to go directly to them. We also have the Innovatives new What's New in Polaris 7.7 and the idea exchange if you want to add any additional ideas or see what ideas are there. And then we also have our CCS YouTube site that will have this webinar and other resources for you. And then, of course, you can also reach out to us at the help@ccslib.org. And again, if you wanted to take advantage of those non-blocking pop-ups, that is where you would need to send us a help desk ticket and we can make those changes. Any questions? Or anything you'd like us to cover again?
I just want to jump in very quickly and say that we had a lot of ideas, great ideas and questions come up in the chat. And the idea exchange is a great place to submit those. And a lot of the things that we reviewed today were things that came from those idea exchanges. And so things that other library staff have submitted and were voted on as something that people wanted to see in LEAP. So things like including a shortcut for that load all button could be a great idea to include there. So just keep in mind if you have ideas, please feel free to input them in Idea Exchange and then share it out with the CCS community so that we can go ahead and support your ideas. Thank you all for coming. If you have any questions, you can stay on afterwards. Molly and I will hang around to help you answer anything that is staying stuck in your mind. Otherwise, you are good to go enjoy this beautiful day. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It was really great to see everyone. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.